The opinions expressed are those of the show's host and not the staff or management of Port St. Lucie broadcasters. Any reproduction without written consent of WSTU and WPSL is strictly prohibited. Now it's time for Quality of Life Radio, brought to you by WellMed. Here are your hosts, Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier.
Hello and good morning to all of our listening friends here on the beautiful, fabulous Treasure Coast of Florida. It is July 13th, 10:07 a.m. I'm glad to be alive, and I'm your host, Gary Owen.
And I'm your co-host, Tom Bouvier.
And together, Thomas, we're bringing them
the Quality of Life Radio Show.
Fantastic. And by the way, this show, it's world-renowned. People, Tom, are listening to us from all over the globe. Because why? You're special.
Well, you're special too.
All right, so we're both special folks here in the studio. We got a really special guest to introduce to you this morning as well. And by the way, our show is sponsored by WellMed, United Healthcare and Lot Insurance Services. And if you are tuning in if you're driving on US 1, number one, be prudent and watch all those crazy drivers out there.
Especially the one with the big white Roadmaster, yeah. The whale of a boat, whale of a car.
It is a big one. I'd hate to get hit by you, buddy.
Not every man is that big as my car.
And you can also catch us live in the studio at www.wstutv.com. And those of you that are watching live on Facebook, thanks for tuning in. You can catch us on Facebook at the Quality of Life Radio Show. Thomas, would you let our listeners know why we're here every single week?
Every Tuesday morning, we come here to bring relevant, useful content to our listeners. Number two, we actually love to support our local businesses, nonprofit organization, and in this case, our esteemed representative. And we also bring education and information to help people improve their quality of life regarding insurance planning.
All right. So, as Tom said, we are here because we want to enhance and improve your quality of life. And to that point, after we grill our Florida representative, the smiling, handsome, young, strapping, who's with us this morning? Tom?
John Snyder.
Okay, very good. You were a little late this morning, so just making sure you're on it. And Tom and I are going to talk a little bit about kind of what you do, John, with employment and group insurance and voluntary benefits and things of that nature. So it kind of ties into what you do as well. So, by the way, we're happy this morning to have Florida Representative John Snyder. He's representing District 82 in the great state of Florida. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Gary. Great to be with you. Good morning, Tom. Thanks for having me. And it's couldn't ask for better weather on the Treasure Coast this morning. And when I woke up and was thinking about being on the show today, I got excited because I know every time I'm out in the community, when I see Gary and Tom, it usually is a sign that someone's about to have a good time. And so this morning, it's my lucky treat. And the listeners on here, I did bribe my daughter, who has this week off from summer camp. I said, Elizabeth, if you watch this morning, because Gary and Tom really stressed to me, we've got to get the word out. So I let her know that if she would watch this morning, I would give her a special shout out. So Elizabeth's going into 5th grade this year. She's in the safety patrol. And so if you're watching, honey, I love you and hope you're enjoying great summer so far.
Hello, Elizabeth. And the world can say hello back to you as well, Elizabeth. And keep up the good work. You've got a great daddy. And I'm sure that I know for a fact that your daddy's very proud of you. So thank you for tuning in, and make sure you tell all your friends to be tuning in as well. This is going to be a very important show.
Absolutely.
So, John, you and I were talking a little bit. And by the way, yes, before we get to business, yes, Tom and I bring the funshine. You bring the sunshine. So we like
no pressure. No pressure.
It's a great symbiotic relationship. So we were talking before the show started a little bit about your background and obviously your service to our country, and we certainly respect you and appreciate your dedication and your commitment to our military and to the United States and serving our country. Tell us a little bit about that background and how it started and what you did and where you served.
Well, let me first start by saying that I am so proud to be an American. I'm proud to be a Floridian.
Amen.
And I am proud to be born and raised right here on the Treasure Coast. I think that we live in the greatest country this world has ever known. Certainly, Florida right now is leading the nation, and I'm sure we're all certainly biased here. But the Treasure Coast is a wonderful gem and our hidden secret. And so, for those of you that are listening in from outside of the area, don't try and find us on the map.
Thank you for saying
We
that.
don't exist.
But to simply recap, I was born and raised here in Stuart, Florida, and growing up in Martin County. Sometimes you take for granted how special this place really is. And after graduating high school from Hope Sound Christian Academy, spent a couple years in college trying to figure out what my major was going to be. I thought maybe nursing and healthcare. Maybe at one point when I first started pre-med, it only took about a couple hours of chemistry class to realize that was not for me. And ultimately made the decision after trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up. I said, well, let me follow in my brother's footsteps, who had also served in the Marine Corps. And in 2007, raised my right hand, headed out to Parris Island for the adventure of a lifetime, stood on the yellow footprints. And I can honestly say that completely changed the trajectory of my life. Spent 5 years working on KC-130s, which are the large troop transport, cargo transport, and in-flight refueling. Really mainstays of the United States military. Had the opportunity to go over and serve in Afghanistan. And upon transitioning from the military, again, trying to figure out what were the next steps going to be. Just interesting how life's journeys take you on some unexpected and unforeseen paths, and ended back up in the Treasure Coast working in the staffing and recruiting industry. So, again, thinking back in 2012, getting out as a wrench turner, working on in aviation, thought, well, the natural progression would be go work in the aviation industry and climb the career ladder there. And in the midst of applying for different jobs, I was approached by a local company, STS, and they said, hey, we see you applying for all these different jobs. A lot of them are through our employment agency. We see you're from the Treasure Coast. Would you like to come back and be a recruiter? And during that time, learned the staffing and employment industry. And today, that's how I make my living, and believe it's a vital aspect to our economy as a whole.
So you're telling me that your annual salary as a Florida representative is not going to sustain you?
Well, listen, I'll tell you what, Gary, there is a
fill
reason.
up my gas tank.
Yeah, there is a reason, and it's an important reason, because I don't believe that career politicians serve anyone well. And
I agree with that.
When we look at how Florida government and state government operates, it's important that we have a citizen legislature, because the intent of that is for the representative, who is the voice of 150,000 local community neighbors and residents, must know the pains and the day-to-day struggles that everyone is experiencing. And so working in a professional field, continuing that as how I feed my family, and not relying on again a political salary, I believe keeps you local, keeps you connected, and it's I believe it's proven to be an effective form of government.
I'll tell you, man, you are representing probably the leading state in the country, in my opinion anyway, as far as innovation, progression, work, employment. I mean, we are on the leading cutting edge of maybe, except for maybe one other state. But man, this state offers so much. It's so diverse, and there's so much opportunity. And most importantly, Tom and I live here.
Absolutely.
And the weather is, you can't beat the weather. So,
well, that's right. And I'll tell you, and it's important. It isn't just the sunshine, and while those are great contributing factors that Gary and Tom do live here, that certainly plays a big role of it. Another big slice of that pie is again, when we look at government and the role it plays in our lives, I think one thing that the pandemic has shown is how important local and state government is. And we can look around the nation and see how other states really approached this pandemic and really put on the table what certain styles of government believe is the best approach to dealing with personal liberties.
Right.
And here in Florida, the reason that our real estate market is booming and the demand is so great is because Governor DeSantis and the leaders of the state of Florida made a concerted effort that personal liberties would trump government bureaucrats, because we believe that the individual will always make the best decision for themselves and for their families. Again, not a government bureaucrat.
Yeah, and we appreciate the governor's leadership, and John, we appreciate your leadership and supporting your constituents here and representing the state of Florida. So we appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So going back to what you're doing now, staffing and recruiting, we'll touch on that for a moment. You're the owner of ESI. You've been doing it for 6 years. You're located, I believe, in Palm City, across the bridge here, and you employ. Tell us how many people you employ and all those contractors you have across this. Very, very impressive what this man is doing.
Well, I appreciate that, Gary, and I certainly can't take credit alone. I've got a wonderful team and some strong business partners, and today we employ 17 employees in-house, and we have just over 1,000 contractors working at various client sites around the country, primarily from here in Florida out to Texas. And so we work with different companies that ask us to go out to market to find specialized either healthcare or education talent and put them to work either in facilities, nursing homes, hospitals, schools. And here on the Treasure Coast, we work with a variety of different businesses to provide recruiting, HR, and payroll support.
All right. So your focus really is healthcare and education talent?
Primary, yes. If it's outside of the Treasure Coast, it's in one of those two verticals.
All right, fantastic, John. We're zooming through here the show. We're coming up on our first break, so we're gonna take our first break. And by the way, just in case you weren't sure who you're listening to, it happens to be Gary and Tom, the Booth, Tom Bouvier. By the way, we had a great meeting this morning at the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. So a great presentation you did. I got a lot of text messages complimenting you. So you listen to the Quality of Life radio show, WSTU 1450 AM and WPSL 1590 AM. Go ahead and go take a twinkle, have a second cup of coffee, or a third, and I promise you, we're going to be right back. welcome back to the Quality of Life Radio Show. You're listening to Gary Owen and Tom the Boov. And by the way, we want to say thank you.
There's an echo.
All right. Thank you for that. By the way, you're listening to the Quality of Life Radio Show. A big thank you to one of our sponsors on the show is Lot Insurance. Thomas, those are your buddies. Talk to us about Lot Insurance Services.
Absolutely. Frankie and Joe Lott have an agency up in Port St. Lucie, or actually Fort Pierce, St. Lucie County. And we want to say a big thank you to one of our sponsors. That is Lott Insurance Services. Trust them for all your home, auto, boat, and business insurance needs.
If you're looking to save a lot,
call the Lott Brothers, located on US 1, just north of Midway Road in St. Lucie County.
And also our friends at WellMed Medical. We really appreciate Tanner, who lives up in Vero Beach, and they're sponsoring our show, and we collaborate and work with them very closely. And by the way, you know that a good primary care physician is always in great demand. So, and there are so many currently that do not have a primary care physician. It's really amazing that so many people don't go to the doctor. They refuse to go to the doctor. They don't have a primary care doctor, or they're not happy with the primary care physician because they're not providing them the care and the concern and the time that they deserve. Right, Tom?
Yep.
So listen, it'd be a good idea for you to check out WellMed. They have got 4 locations here right on the Treasure Coast. And Tom, those locations are
Stuart, Florida, Port St. Lucie, St. Lucie West, Fort Pierce, and Sebastian.
Boom. There you go. All right. So in case you're just tuning in, where in the heck have you been?
Sleeping.
We have Tom, it's 10:25 in the morning. So we have a super duper guest on our show. He's the sunshine. We're the funshine. You put us both together in the same room, and magic happens.
Not moonshine, soul shine.
I don't know. I think John would probably sip a little of my.
Well, I know about that whiskey club, Gary.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I catch you tuning in and watching us every once in a while. And by the way, yes, we had a great whiskey club meeting last Friday. Typically, it's the first Friday of every month, but because it came on a holiday, we couldn't party twice in 2 nights in a row, even though we did. But we did a rum night instead of whiskey night, so that was a lot of fun. We were all acting like pirates. I missed you, by the way. So we're talking with Representative John Snyder from District 82. We're honored and happy to have him with us this morning. We're talking about the workforce and what's going on with the work shortages and plus, what he did during session. And we know that session's coming back again in September. So, on the Treasure Coast, tell us what you see with the workforce shortage, because I can tell you that locally, as a business owner, we are having issues finding somebody to come and work with, or even answer an application or answer an advertisement for employment. So walk us through what's going on and how soon do you see that changing?
I think we're seeing it, and not to be overly optimistic, but I think day by day we're seeing it get better. We're seeing lumber prices have finally stabilized. The restaurants aren't having to I know, down in Hope Sound here, and the natives had to close a couple extra days a week because of the staff shortages. A lot of that is starting to change, but really, what we did in session this last year was really try to overhaul the workforce development program, because basically what we have is 3 separate state-funded programs. All centered towards getting people back to work. But what we were finding out was that really the right hand wasn't talking to the left hand. And so trying to use technology to our advantage to bring our systems up to the 21st century. So the moment a job seeker, someone who is on unemployment, and again, in Florida, we call it reemployment for a reason, because we want those individuals to get back to work. And 9 times out of 10, those individuals want to get back to work. So making sure that we're able to use technology to allow job seekers to be connected with those hiring companies because they're everywhere. And so technology is a big piece of it. Again, working with our local partners like the Boys and Girls Club, like Indian River State College, like Project Lift, to make sure that we're capturing those 17, 18-year-old kids who traditional four-year college, just like for me, was not the answer at that time. And so I believe trying to break down some of the stigma around trade schools, vocational schools, this is not the covered in grease, coal factory approach that so many people think, when they envision a blue collar job. These are high tech, precision manufacturing, CNC opportunities that we can get our young children in, again, within 100-hour certification, have them making 17, 18, $24 an hour with a career scale or a career ladder that really is limitless. So those, I believe, are things that the state government can do to partner and fund our local providers, because it's here at the local level is where we really have the best pulse on the community.
Absolutely, 100%. And we really appreciate what the folks are doing out there for Project Lift and the Boys and Girls Club. I wanted to ask you before we went on break, so now that it came back to me, what are your boundaries? Let everybody know what your District 82 boundaries.
Yeah, so District 82 runs from about the midpoint in Martin County, so around Indian Street, south to Donald Ross Road, and basically from the Atlantic to Lake Okeechobee. So it's not quite a clean square, but you can simplify it to southern Martin County, the northern portion of Palm Beach County.
Can we get you to move those boundaries a little further north to Jensen Beach, maybe?
Well, I'm not sure if Representative Oberdorf's listening, so I will say this on a serious note: we are up for redistricting this year, so all the lines will change. Our congressional boundaries will change. Our House and Senate boundaries will change, and so who knows what will happen in the next couple of months.
Yeah, listen, we love Toby, and again, both of you are doing such a wonderful job representing the state of Florida and your constituents. So, talk to us a little bit about what you did in session here recently. I mean, I know that COVID came up, homeowners insurance. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations on our show here, John, about the crazy premiums going through the roof, and homeowners are losing their insurance. So I know there were some discussions in the legislature about homeowners insurance, automobile insurance, and then we'll talk about some other issues after that.
Well, to kick it right off, Gary, one of the things that I think when we look at root causes for what's driving this spike in insurance costs, you can really just follow the math. Here in Florida, we make up about 20% of the homeowners' claims around the country, but we're responsible for about 80% of the litigation in the homeowners market. And so what that tells us is that there are a handful of bad actors. And again, when we drill down, because we can see these numbers through the Office of Insurance Regulation, there's about a couple dozen of these law firms that are partnering with out-of-state roofing contractors and have really created a cottage industry where companies are going around as door-to-door salesmen when they know they're inside of some type of storm window, and literally going door to door, and they were offering $500 gift cards if you'll let me go up on your roof, and I promise you I'm going to get you a free roof. Well, ding, ding, ding. We know our parents taught us there's no such thing as a free lunch, but they were gaming the system, and ultimately what we're experiencing now is the Floridians who have been paying their homeowners premiums are now paying for everybody else's quote unquote free roof. So Senate Bill 76, in essence, put a stop to the practice of solicited roof claims. Again, this is not a knock to our hardworking local roofing contractors that when you need them, they are critical. This was really geared towards the bad actors that were giving the 99% of the good guys a bad name. And so I would love to be able to say that tomorrow we're going to see rates drastically fall. That's not the case. So this is that phase of we're trying to stop the bleeding.
Yep.
There's still more to be done, but we know that is a major issue that affects our affordable housing, and especially with our seniors who are on a fixed income and cannot afford a 75 or 100% spike in their monthly premium. We're working aggressively to rein that in and to address that issue.
Thank God for that. And then also on the auto insurance side.
Yeah. So again, there were two different schools of thought on this issue. Right now, Florida is one of the few states that has PIP insurance, the personal injury protection. And there was an effort by the Florida legislature to repeal PIP and put that at a mandatory bodily injury system. And what I felt in consulting with the subject matter experts and those within the industry, and really was pretty prevalent, is that would see a significant spike in the cost of insurance, especially those who were utilizing PIP and could probably afford to absorb that impact the least. And so I voted against that. It did ultimately make it through the House and the Senate, but the governor did use the red pen and vetoed that piece of legislation. So for now, PIP will remain the insurance model for the state of Florida.
All right. COVID has really impacted us on a personal level, John.
Yep.
On a business level, psychological level. What have you done and the Florida legislators done related to COVID?
I was proud to co-sponsor the COVID liability protection bill. That was really a big step to making sure that our economy continued to operate and really lead the nation through the pandemic and the ensuing recovery. So that was important to us to make sure that small business operators knew that the fear of excessive litigation was something they did not need to worry about. So we passed. That was one of the first bills that made it through the legislature. Was the COVID liability protection bill, and then we also had to create a new statute that made selling fraudulent vaccines a crime. There was a loophole where, again, some very bad actors were preying on our senior citizen community, trying to sell either expedite passes or promising vaccines that did not exist. And we created that loophole to protect our seniors. And again, hats off to Governor DeSantis and Jared Moskowitz, a great example of a bipartisan team. One a Republican, Jared Moskowitz, who was at the time our director of emergency management, a registered Democrat, coming together to say, let's put our seniors first. Now is not the time for politics. Let's do the right thing. We locked down our nursing homes. We prioritize our senior citizens in the vaccine rollout. And now Florida, again, we're able to look back in the mirror and say, the proof is in the pudding. We did it right. We did it responsibly. And now it's onward and upward.
Isn't it truly amazing what happens when you have collaboration on both sides of the aisle?
That's right.
Local, state, and national. But we just don't see it anymore. It's deplorable, quite frankly.
Well, it is. And I think, Gary, from your background, the importance of leadership. And leadership does matter, especially in times of trials and tribulations. It's easy, especially in political office, to recluse back into the safety of the turtle shell, and let's just weather the storm and let's wait for some good polling data to come out. And that's not what happened here in Florida. That's not the way we operate. That's not the way I operate. And again, thankful for Governor DeSantis to really stick his neck out there and bite the bullet for the rest of us. And now we're able to reap those rewards.
You'd mentioned earlier about Stewart being the gem. It truly is.
It is.
But there's one thing that's causing that gem to be tarnished, and that's that nasty water.
Without a doubt.
We need clean water. Every citizen in our community demands clean water. What are we doing about it?
Well, I'll tell you, so again, I told this story on the campaign trail. Growing up here, it was a rite of passage to go on the Environmental Studies Center field trip into the Indian River Lagoon. That's where you learn the St. Lucie Shuffle and how to avoid stingrays. And it was a beautiful experience, seining out in that river. And when my own daughter went to do that same field trip, she had to sign a liability release about 15 pages deep, and they looked at a wading pool of what it was supposed to look like. And that's unacceptable. But what we've seen in the last several years is really the culmination of the Treasure Coast not accepting the status quo and really making this a statewide issue. And over the last several years, I believe statewide coalitions truly have been built. Congressman Brian Mast has been a champion like no other on this issue. Senator Joe Negron putting historic funding, and I saw it with my own eyes. We're nearing the completion of the Southern Reservoir, where we will be able to have a release valve instead of, because that's ultimately the answer. We've got to stop the discharges into our lagoons and estuaries. And so working to have water, to have storage south of the lake, north of the lake, using innovation and technology to clean that water, continue to move it south. And ultimately, I would love to see C-44 be permanently closed for any type of discharge, certainly in the next generation to come. We can do it, and there's historic funding, and that's really a big part of it. The governor has put his money where his mouth is. We stood together out at Jonathan Dickinson Park just a few weeks ago. He was on an aerial tour with Congressman Mast. The Florida legislature put over $600 billion specifically to clean water and infrastructure projects, and so the needle is moving. We've got to keep the gas pedal down and just keep praying that Mother Nature cooperates and we can keep the C-44 gates closed.
Absolutely. There's one more issue I want to kind of just hit on real actually, no, we can't do it quick because we have a break coming up. So before we hit the break, when we come back, I want to ask you what's going on. Well, I'll talk to you a little bit about what's going on here down in Cuba, 90 miles away from us. And then also we're going to talk about the key word here in Florida, well, in our country, is innovation. What's happening and with Sir Richard Branson going on a civilian space flight. So we're going to talk about that. And of course, because we are the premier quality of life radio show, and we're here, Tom and I are here to enhance and improve your quality of life, we're going to talk about some health facts as well when we come back from break. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Quality of Life radio show on WSTU 1450 AM, America's Heritage Station, and WPSL 1590. We'll be right back. Supposed to do the OAU shuffle. All right, welcome back to the Quality of Life radio show. I'm your host, Gary Owen, and Tom, the Bouvier is my co-host, and glad to have him with us this morning. In the studio this morning, we have Representative John Snyder representing District 82 with us. And before we went on break, we're going to talk about two quick subjects, and then Tom and I will share the last 10 minutes with you, talking about some group health insurance opportunities, individual health insurance, ACA, what the ARPA Act of 2021 means to you, and then I guess we're going to say kumbaya. We're going to kiss each other and hug each other, and we'll be on our way.
But we'll
I'm
be
not
back
kissing
next
you, Evan.
week.
Okay, John, talk to me about Cuba, because we before we went on break, we were talking about that, and what a beautiful island that wouldn't it be great to go to for a vacation and help support those people who are destitute, who are dying to get the heck out of that island to come to here. What can we do about Cuba, John?
It's a sad situation, but it's also very hopeful at the same time, Gary. Here in South Florida, we're closer to Cuba than we are to Orlando.
Exactly.
And so they are our neighbors. I'm privileged to serve with a number of first-generation Cuban Americans whose parents fled communism and the dangers associated with communism. I think this is an important wake-up call that we cannot miss, because there has been a move in this call that democratic socialism and socialism is good. And Bernie Sanders saying, oh, he did some okay stuff. Wrong. It's an oppressive form of government. People are getting dragged from their homes and murdered as we speak for gathering in the streets and yearning for freedom. And so I hope that that President Biden will do everything in their power to support this movement for freedom. I know that Florida stands with the people of Cuba, and certainly South Florida stands with Cuba.
Here, here. And by the way, it's my understanding that the top law dog here in Martin County may be watching the show. So we want to give a shout out to Sheriff Bill Snyder. Thank you so much for tuning. William Snyder, thank you. And by the way, I want to, this is a great segue, John, because we've been seeing whoever does the post with the Martin County Sheriff's
Wrong
Office,
exit.
the hashtag
I love
wrong
that.
exit. That is
right.
I'm like that's like the
absolutely
comics. I can't wait till they
phenomenal.
come out.
I love it.
I know.
So, we appreciate what he's doing, and the deputy sheriffs and the police officers here in our county to catch these traveling criminals. I think we're making an impact. I think we're making a great statement, and I think Martin County, God bless Martin County.
That's right.
God bless William Snyder. You guys are making a difference here in our county, and I think the word is getting out to these scumbags who are coming in this county to commit nefarious acts. Talk to us about that.
Well, that's right. And there's this phenomenon in law enforcement that through the use of technology and better tracking, we're realizing that the majority of the crime that happens in our community is committed by individuals from outside of it. And that happens all throughout the state, where individuals know law enforcement in their own backyards, know who they are. So it's easy, especially here in Florida. You jump on the interstate of the turnpike, you drive an hour and a half. But here in Martin County, we know that's the wrong exit. So do not get off here because we do have some of the best law enforcement professionals in the entire country.
You're here.
I know I certainly am biased. I'm proud to call our sheriff and my dad. And part of the relationship and having that closeness with law enforcement is trying to find how we, as the legislature, can close the gaps and give law enforcement and our prosecutors all the tools necessary to stop these traveling criminals. So we passed a piece of legislation last year increasing the penalty for individuals who travel from their county of residence to commit a burglary or any type of felony. That died in the Senate, but there have been some changes over there that makes me feel very hopeful that this year we could see that all the way across the finish line. I have filed that piece of legislation again, and hope to see that, and we'll work to that end to get it signed into law.
That's fantastic.
Excellent.
And thank you, Sheriff Snyder, for all your hard work.
Absolutely.
And again, all the men and women of all of our law enforcement
agencies,
professionals
yes.
here on the Treasure Coast.
Absolutely, 100%. Well said. So I think real quick, before we come back to him, there's one important question that I'm going to ask him before, like the last 2 minutes of the show. So people that are watching and listening, you gotta hang tight for another 12, 13 minutes. I have a very important question to ask the representative here. It's in our studio to see how he responds. Boov, listen to me.
I'm listening.
We are going to talk about a health fact about eating a certain food. I think John Snyder probably eats a gallon of this a day, but talk to us about what that food is.
That food is oatmeal. Your grandmother was right. Actually, oatmeal helps fight depression. People experiencing depression and insomnia,
That'd be
or
me.
both. Okay.
Insomnia.
So I'll be buying you some oatmeal for
Need
your
more of it.
evening meal.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay. You have a lack of serotonin if you cannot sleep at night or if you're experiencing depression. It's a hormone synthesized from the amino acid tryptophan. I think you probably learned that in chemistry. All right.
Yeah, it's when I saw words like that I knew that was not the major for me.
Tryptophan. I'm making that up.
Not such a fan of.
No, I'm not a fan of tryptophan. So eating foods high in tryptophan, like oatmeal, eggs, chicken, and peanuts, can help regulate mood and sleep, according to a 2016 study published in the journal Nutrients.
Very cool.
Sponsored by oatmeal. I'm sure sponsored by that captain.
So less biggie fries and hamburgers from McDonald's and so forth, and more oatmeal. That might be the trick. And by the way,
That's good with bacon.
I lack a lot. I lack a lot more than serotonin, I can tell you. So, being an aviator, and I'll tell you, and a space buff fan, it was very interesting to see Sir Richard Branson becoming the very first person to ride into space aboard a rocket that he helped fund. The supersonic space plane happened to be developed by Virgin Galactic, his company. It roared into the sky over New Mexico early Sunday morning, carrying Branson and 3 fellow crew members and pilots Dave McKay and Michael Mascucci. They boarded the Spaceship Two, which happened to be a winged plane with a single rocket motor that the company spent nearly 2 decades developing before the crack of dawn. Attached beneath its massive twin fuselage mothership, dubbed the White Knight 2, the vehicle took to the skies at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time and climbed to 50,000 feet. I know, John, you've never been to 50,000 feet before.
I have not.
Not yet, but you're probably going to be one of the upcoming.
That's right. And you've got to be careful when a billionaire says that they're going to bring space flight affordable to all, and the price tag's $250,000. You got to watch out for the.
So just after 9 and dropped momentarily before the engine, vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced up to 3 Gs of force. Yeah, I've done 3 Gs. That's easy. From the burst of extreme acceleration, and watched the blue sky fade into the star-speckled darkness of outer space. At the top of the flight path, more than 50 miles high, the vehicle was suspended in weightlessness for a few minutes. Imagine what that would feel like. I would love to do that. Allowing passengers to enjoy panoramic views of Earth and space as the ship flipped onto its belly. And then it deployed its feathering system, which curls the plane's wings upward to turn the spaceship rightward as it flew back to Earth. So pretty amazing thing. He had a great little speech he gave while he was floating in space to children. He said, "Once I was a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I am an adult in a spaceship. If we can do this, just imagine what you can do." Amazing message. It's very amazing stuff. So anyway, congratulations to him. And by the way, to your point, John, I'll add that Branson's flight also helps bolster Virgin Galactic's reputation as the world's first commercial space line, and plans to conduct just one more test flight before it will begin flying paying passengers. More than 600 people so far, minus John Snyder, have reserved tickets priced at $250,000. So imagine, I guess maybe the more, and by the way, the more space flights that we have, I think the price will come down from $250 to maybe $150.
That's when you'll get in.
No, not yet. To $50,000. and then to 5,000, then I'll get in at the 5,000 mark. That's where I
Deal.
am. That's just, and we'll have to fly together though.
I'm in.
That's if I'm not like 90 years old and decrepit. All right. So I also want to talk about actually Tom's turn to talk. We've got less than 10 minutes left of the show. And of course, our show is brought to you by Owen Insurance Group. And Tom and I run the agency. And he's my right-hand man as a field manager for Owen Insurance Group. We have 4 field managers at Owen Insurance Group, and we're glad to have Tom with us on this coast. And Tom, talk to us a little bit about health insurance, what it means for individuals, what the ARPA Act means, and group insurance.
Absolutely. So, Gary, as we're talking about individual health insurance, I can remember a time when I did not have individual health insurance. And many times at night, I was thinking, I sure hope I don't get sick. I sure hope I don't have an accident. And I can recall out at the beach, I was boogie boarding on a very rough day. And in my company, they had offered different types of insurance, and they offered dental insurance. And like a week before, and I denied it. I said I didn't want to pay the $3.65 each paycheck or whatever. It was very inexpensive. And I recall going down this very steep wave and then realizing the wave was really curling, and it slammed me right into the ground, and it slammed my face and my teeth. And my very first thought was,
All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth.
I thought I didn't have any front teeth at the time, but the first thing I thought was, dang. I said, dang, I should have gotten that dental insurance because I didn't see that wave coming, slamming me. So thankfully, just my whole face was all bloodied, but all of my teeth were intact, although the 2 front teeth did get pushed back. I could literally feel they got slammed and pushed back. They didn't come out though. So accidents happen, and we don't know what we don't know.
To your point, Tom, many people don't see the wave coming, and then it's too late, and now they don't have insurance, or they don't have the right insurance policy.
My point precisely, Gary. It's like insurance is one of those things you don't really wake up thinking, I can't wait to pay my insurance bill. But you know what? If you have car insurance, you never think about the money you're just thankful you don't get in a wreck. You don't think, well, I just paid all that money and I didn't get any benefit out of it. So individual health insurance for people under 65 has an amazing open window till August 15th. The ARPA Act that was signed into legislation by our current administration not only increased the tax credits or subsidies, as many people call them, the tax credits for premiums for individual or family health insurance if you're not being offered it at work, has been opened all the way till August 15th. It's a special enrollment period till August 15th. So if you don't have health insurance, or you don't have you have a family member, or you're a business owner, and as a business, you just really cannot afford to give your wonderful employees full medical health insurance, call Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020. Gary or myself or one of our staff would be able to give you some excellent quotes for all your employees. And we can offer other additional voluntary benefits that would not cost you as an employer a penny. Might even save you some money. But those voluntary benefits with disability, life, dental, etc., can be, again, the $4.50 out of each paycheck to get them a good dental policy. So we have a variety of different options, but mainly in this day and age, anybody that does not have health insurance is because they don't want it, or maybe you're kind of ignorant. You didn't know that you could get it. So we're letting you know now, and let all your family and friends, everyone you know you can call for a free quote. It does not cost a thing for us to get you a quote, and hopefully we'll get you great insurance. And how many large percentage of people are paying under $100?
Over 53% are paying less than $100 a month with the new tax
subsidies.
And people who are high income earners, we had a couple that was making $150,000 a year. They were able to qualify with a $621 a month subsidy.
I had that exact quote.
So there's some big opportunities, folks, and Tom, you're spot on. And there are we have companies calling us for quotes for their employees. If you're a small employer, you got 4, 5, 10 employees, it might make sense. And Tom and I will do an analysis and see if it makes sense to take a group plan or to enroll those into an individual plan. Saves you, the employer, all that money, and it saves the employee money because they're going to qualify for a behemoth tax subsidy, lowering your premiums. So as Tom said, make sure you give us a call because we can guide you. We are the lighthouse in the community to shine the light through the darkness, because there's a lot of nefarious, I can't say nefarious, but maybe agents that don't know what they're talking about or don't know what they're doing, don't have the education and the training and the experience that we have. And we'll always do what's right 100% of the time. I've been here on this Treasure Coast for 35 years. I promise you, we're not going anywhere. So,
I was going to say, we simplify the insurance planning so that you
That's right.
can enjoy that stress-free life. Take it off your plate.
So, Mr. Representative John Snyder,
Yes, sir.
question. It's a two-part question. Are you yet preparing for re-election? Yes or no?
Always looking
Perfect.
at. That's right.
And then second part of that question, I mean, I knew the answer. I'm not going to ask you a question I don't know the answer to. How can we help you, the community, circle around you to get you reelected? What do you need from us?
Continue to reach out, stay engaged. You can follow join us on social media. If you're on Facebook at John Snyder 82. If you ever need direct assistance from our office, I'm blessed to have a fantastic team, Sarah Craven and Sarah Powers. You can call us at 772-545-3481.
All right. Thanks, John. Appreciate having you. It was a fun time, Mr. Sunshine. Thanks for bringing the sunshine. Next week, our special guest on the show is going to be Tracy Yotis. Hey, Tracy. I'm sure she's listening in. She owns Guaranteed Garage Repair here in Stewart, right next to us. And of course, Tom and I will continue providing valuable insurance planning solutions, or what we call insurance straight talk. So thank you for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed the show. We know that you did. Please share us with your friends, your family, your neighbors. And Treasure Coast, remember, stay safe, keep healthy, be happy, and enjoy your quality of life.